Welcome. I'm Jonathan Kay. It's 4 o'clock Eastern on Monday the 14th. We're going to be talking about one of the most fundamental aspects of SimsUshare, which is how do you share simulations? Typically with our support, customer support, we have two kinds of ways to share. One is to share with just viewing. So I'm going to send out a simulation for people to look at. I don't really care that they have the files to be able to edit or anything. I just want to be able to send it to view. And the second would be, how do I share simulations where I want to give someone else the files so that they can possibly edit them? So we're going to go over in this talk how you share simulations when you want to just give it to someone, for example, to have them look at it. I can send it by email. I can put it into a web page. I can embed it into a web page, or I can also put it into a learning management system. And then the second kind, which is where I'm actually sharing the actual files, how I can manually copy the simulations to another computer, how I can share them over a network, or then how I can upload and download them to and from a cloud account. And the upload download is particularly important for mobile devices, because with manual copy, I can, on Windows and Mac, I can copy files onto a thumb drive, but on iOS, for example, you can't pull the files off. Apple protects the files, so you can't just take them off and put them on. So we're going to go over this, but we're going to go over the most basic first, which is going to be manually. How do I copy? How do I share it on a network? How do I upload, download? And then we're going to finish up by showing how you can share the simulations which are viewable through email, through web pages, or through a learning management system. So in essence, the manual copy, which is the most basic, that has worked ever since the beginning of SimsUshare in 2012, you're really going to be copying the files. And so as you see from this slide, the simulations are all stored by default in the Documents SimsUshare folder. And so let's take a look at this, that you can copy over the whole folder, let's say from one computer to another. You can copy the SimsUshare folder from that exact place, the document SimsUshare, copy it over to another computer's document SimsUshare. Then when you run the app on that other computer, it will see that SimsUshare folder. So if we look, that's how you'd copy all your simulations, just copy the SimsUshare folder. If you wanted to copy individual sims, you could go into a special folder that I'm going to show you. So if we now go in, I'm going to go over here and show you. I'm also going to, meantime, going to shut off my video there. We don't need to see that. So if I go into the Documents folder, now you'll see when you run SimsUshare the first time, it creates a SimsUshare folder. So if you wanted to copy over all your sims, or you wanted to back them up, just copy this folder onto a thumb drive. If you want to email it, you could zip it and send the zip file to someone to unpack. And if you then, if I go into the SimsUshare folder, now let's say, you'll see here, this is where my sims are stored. If you want to now move individual sims, what you'll do is you'll go into the Sims folder, and inside here you see I have 3 folders, 120 Myrtle, Example House, and this 153. If I look at SimsUshare, those are the names, and I'll just show you edit here. Those happen to be kind of the folder names for the sims that I have stored in here. And so that's all the files for Example House or Manchester are stored in each folder. So if I wanted to just copy over a simulation to another Windows or Mac computer, I could just copy this folder directly. Now I wouldn't put it in the SimsUshare folder. If I were to copy it on another computer, I would go into the SimsUshare folder, I would go into Sims, and I would paste it in place here. And so what I'll show you what that looks like. If I go in, let's say I have some other sims over here. I'll say I have, just pretend, let's pretend I got whatever, 40 South Main Street. Somehow I'm copying it, let's say off of a thumb drive. Now I'm going to go into my documents. I'm going to go to SimsUshare, and I just want to put that simulation. I go into Sims, and then I paste it. Now when I open up SimsUshare, now let's say I'll close SimsUshare over here. The easiest thing to do is I reopen SimsUshare, and SimsUshare, when it starts out, goes and looks and sees, is there any new simulation in the sim folder? So it says, I found one new sim, should I add it? So it adds it to its record, and that's how you would copy it over. And then if I go over, I'll show you here now. If I go to edit, we'll see 40 South Main is right in there. So everything is contained in that sim folder. Now, that's okay when you want to share a couple sims back and forth. What happens if you now want to share simulations with other computers on your network? So that we have the ability to share sim folders. So imagine you have different users on different computers, but you usually have a drive that you share things, share documents, share content with. Maybe the N drive, the Z drive, whatever it's typically talked about. You can actually make a folder on that drive, and then you can have SimsUshare put your simulations into that folder. And then each person on their own computer or their own account can say, look at that folder. And if you see over here, I'm going to show you this. There's a way to add the sim folder. And you'll see when you add a folder, you'll see here in this picture, I'll zoom it in. Once you add a folder, and you can add multiple folders, it will then subdivide the list of simulations into the ones that are my simulations, which are the ones in your document SimsUshare folder, and whatever other folders that you have that you maybe on a shared drive. You can make any number of these. This would be really good is once you start making more than 10, 15, 20 simulations and you're tired of scrolling around, you can actually make folders on your computer and then put the simulations into those folders. So I'll show you what that looks like. If we go into our SimsUshare program, over here we have one big list. I would go here, I'm in the edit screen, I go to the menu and I say add sim folder. This might be, let's say I might make these single family residences or something. So what happens here now, I hit OK, and now it'll say where is that? And what I might do is go over into a shared folder. I might create a new folder. I'll just call it like SFRs, whatever that is. And I'll click on that, and then I'll say select folder. And now in a moment, you'll see now SimsUshare has multiple folders here. And this is sort of expand and collapse. If I want to get a sim into that folder, all I have to do is click on the sim, hit clone, and now it will actually tell me where should I copy it to. I'm going to copy it over to single family residences. What's the name going to be? Same name. And now we'll see if I click here, you'll see now it's in both places. So it makes a copy of it and puts it into the single family residences. Now, I made it on my own computer. The single family residence is on the disk, but typically you would put that folder onto a network drive, and then you could have multiple people across your whole department link into that folder. They wouldn't see the my simulations because that's in my private documents, but I might have the single family residences or templates or commercial. I might put that into a shared drive. So there's also a way to set up the program so that it automatically looks at certain folders. And that's on our help page, I'll get to a little bit later. We have what's called the network. It says about network videos for making public and private sims. And that's where you could find out how you could set up the application. So anyone opening SimsUshare automatically has these segmented lists. And they can have their private areas, and then you can make several, one or more public folders. So the manual copy is really just copying the actual folder over to the new computer into the right place, or it's by having these shared folders where now I'm using the clone to copy it into another folder. So those are ways if I actually wanted to copy those, if I wanted to copy the files themselves for someone to edit. So Don is asking, will it work on a cloud drive, G Suite, or Google Drives? It has to be local, so if they're really stored in the cloud, the SimsUshare is too impatient. It won't wait for them to come down. What we've done sometimes is use Dropbox or Google Drive, but we have to make sure that the copy actually exists locally. So we can certainly explore that to see how to set up the G Suite or Google Drives to do that, but I'm not sure out of the box that it's going to do that. So that's a good question. So that's how, if we wanted to share the simulations manually by copying. The next way to actually share the files, let's say you want to share with a developer or you want to give it to someone else to run in an app, whether that's on mobile, is by using the cloud. And here, what we're going to do with the cloud is we're going to be sharing by uploading to the cloud. That's how I would get it off my device. In the app, I would use upload. And then in the what'll happen is it'll bring it up into your CTC or into your SimCloud account. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I now, let's say I'm going to go over to my SimsUshare here, and now I am, when I want to, let's say I don't want to have that happen, I'm going to go and I say, okay, let's say I want to share a simulation. I go into edit or play, and now I go to the menu and say upload sim. Now here in yours, it'll only probably say SimCloud because unless you have a special private, completely private server. So SimsUshare Cloud, that's going to be the main repository. I hit connect. Now it's going to ask you for your credentials. So you type in your CTC credentials, hit OK. And now on the left-hand side, since we're uploading, this is going to say from device. So this is on my computer. The right-hand side is going to say the things that are in the cloud. If I want to see what's in the cloud, I can list the sims, and you'll see in my account, these are the sims that already exist there. If I now want to upload, so I want to take the simulation from my device and bring it to the cloud, I click on it, and then I press this button here, and now it's set up to go to the repository. So we're going to queue it up. If I want to do another one, I click over here, hit that. Now notice what happens here. It says, oh, there's a sim conflict. What it's recognized is that there was already this sim in the cloud. So it wants to ask you, should I overwrite it with the current one, or should I copy it to a new sim? Now, we don't compare version like dates or anything, so you have to know, is the sim in the cloud a more recent version, or is the one on your device a more recent version? We'll get into version control probably sometime later, but right now you have to know, is the one in the cloud earlier version or the one on your device earlier? So if I want to overwrite, I mean, it's always safest to copy to a new sim. That way you're not overwriting what's there. But if you know that you want to overwrite it, you just click overwrite and then hit OK. And then it knows to overwrite that one rather than just copy to a new one. I'm going to go over here, and now when I hit start, let's say that's my whole list, I hit start, it's going to say packaging, and it's going to upload. There's packaging, and then it's going to be upload and transfer, and now it's all done. So that's it. It's been, the simulations have been stored now in my cloud account. If I go over to the cloud account, I log in, and I go to the simulation, you'll notice there's example house, and I can double click to double check there. There's my example house, and I also can see 153 Manchester Street. So that's all set. So now they're in the cloud. If I wanted to, let's say now bring them down from the cloud, I would go either in edit or play. And if you only have the free version of the app on your computer, just go to play. I'd go to the menu and choose download sims. Now I just do the reverse here. I still choose SimCloud. I hit connect. And now what I'll do is I put my credentials in. And now here in the repository, these are the things that are in the repository. And I might say, oh, let me bring down example house. You're going to get a conflict again because we already have an example house on the computer. So I can either overwrite or copy to new sim. And then you do the same thing once you actually put something in here, let's say SF1, and I hit start. Now it's going to transfer and it's going to unpack and do its thing and install it over here. So that's how you use the cloud to upload and download. Now, the cloud is really important for the next step, which is where you want to share a simulation, but you don't want to give them the files. You just want to put it into a web page. You want it to email the simulation just for viewing alone. So you have to upload the simulation to the SimCloud to be able to share the simulation as a link. What I'm going to do now, go back over here to show you. Let's say that you have a learning management system, you have a web page that you put training on, or you just want to send an email. You can now, since about 1 month ago, you can embed simulations into web pages, and it's all running with all the timing, with all the movement and everything, and people don't need the app anymore to be able to just view and interact. So it's kind of like being able to put a video onto a page or into a learning management system, but unlike a video, this actually retains all the interactivity. So you can move around. If you have timing, all the evolutions, everything still works. And we use as an example our free simulation set. So I'll just show you what I mean. If I go here to simsushare.com/free simulation set, now you'll see here, this is free. We have our free simulations. You'll see if I go into, let's say, residential urban sims 2, you'll see these little boxes. These are actually simulations that are embedded. And what you need to embed, kind of like if you've embedded a YouTube clip, you need just a little code to paste into the place. And so over here, if I go to, let's say, 177 Loudon Road, and here I can click Start Sim, and see now it retains all the interactivity. I can also set the height and width. It doesn't have to be this small. And it has this little button here to go full screen as well. And you'll see now I have all the interactivity. I'll have all the timing. See, I can go and change the conditions and everything, but I don't have to download any software. So this is really good for showing people how to a simulation, and you don't want them to have to download. This is embedding it right into a page, but I'm about to show you how, whether you embed it in a page or just email it, it's really the same thing. So what I'm going to do now is go over to back to the simulation tab over here. I'm in my CTC, and let's say I want to share that example house. All I do is I click example house, and I go to sim embedding. Now over here, by default, it says allows, the sim is not embedded. It's not usable to be embedded. All I have to do is to click allow sim embedding, and now I get 3 boxes. I get a link code, I get an email code, and an iframe embed code. People who have done some of the embedding with YouTube will recognize like the iframe or the link code. This is what I'm going to drop into my web page. Let's say in, for example, in JMB Learning or Fire Rescue Academy or Target Solutions, there'll be a place where you say add a text box. You can take these linked directly, and this little icon next to the box is copy. So you don't have to drag and select and copy everything. You can just click and say, I want to copy that link into the clipboard. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to click over here with email code, because let's say I'm going to just email this sim. I want to say, hey, check out this training. So maybe I open up my my email program, whatever it is, and I say, hi, here's the example sim for training, got to spell it correctly, tonight. And then all you do is you just go and paste it. And now they would actually be able to click it, and it would open in a browser. So for example, if I open a browser here, I'm going to go and just paste it again here, that whole code. And you'll see in a moment, now it's got Start Sim, and this is what would happen if they opened the email and clicked on it. I hit Start, and it loads just like it would if you had the program there with all the timing and everything. So that emailing is really useful. Maybe you don't have an LMS, maybe you don't have web pages, but you want to be able to share a simulation. It's easy to just email it. Now, just a little trick here. If we noticed in the we looked at that actual code, taking a little bit of a closer look, you'll see at the end of it, it says preview screen equals true. That was the Start Sim page. If I don't want to make them press start, if I just want to have it run, all I have to do is remove. I can just remove that I can actually, let me copy the link, and then I'll just go here. You'll see here, if I now just paste that in place there, and I just get rid of that end over here, you'll see and preview screen, you got to get rid of ampersand also. So now if I'm here and I just send it, you'll see it doesn't wait for Start Sim. It just goes immediately in there. So that's a really convenient way to be able to share simulations and have someone take a look at it, whether for real training or whether just to inspect what you're doing for some future application. Another thing I'll pay particular attention to is in the iframe over here. I'll just now get a little bit technical. Where we saw it in that little, we saw it in the little window. You'll see over here there's a width and height, 400 by 300. You can change that to be the whole page. That's user configurable. We just by default said 400 by 300. There's nothing special. So it doesn't only have to be a little window like this. This is probably even smaller. You can make it fill the whole page, and then with being in a learning management system or a web page, you can put all of your content around it. So that having been said, to kind of recap, this is to be able to share a simulation where you don't have to have the app to be able to look at it. You can go and upload your simulation to the cloud, and then go to that share go that allows sim embedding. Now, likewise, if once you allow embedding, there's a button that says disallow. If you click disallow, then that link is no longer active, and you can allow and disallow. But each time you do the allowing and disallowing, you have to you get a new code. So here we have here, and I'll show you again. This is kind of just from there. You'll see to be able to get the link, you click on your simulation, you click allow sim embedding, and then you can use any of the codes. The link code would be something where you just wanted a text box that said 123 Main Street. You click on it and it opens up. The email code would be something where you're sending it directly, and then the iframe embed code would be if you're embedding it into a page. In terms of how do you get help on all this stuff, obviously you can talk with us. If you just want to show Sims to other people, like this email embedding, we have a couple of links over here. A help basic guide has a quick run through about how you upload and email a Sim. We also have previous CTC webinars about how you embed simulations into LMSs. If you're talking about manual copying, I would definitely check out our help area in the developer resources and the CTC. We have videos and documents about how you can basically copy these simulations over to other people for editing or for doing that private and public folder thing that I talked about with on a Windows network. I appreciate, thank you very much for your time. Hope you've learned something from this about the various ways in which you can share simulations. Certainly give us a call, either Danielle, Steve, or me. We're happy to help run you through anything, help give you, kind of point you in the right direction, help you get oriented, be able to share simulations with your whole department. If you have any questions right now, I'll sort of open it up. You can use the Q&A, you can use the chat window. I'll hang out for a couple minutes here. Definitely, again, appreciate your participation, appreciate you coming here now, value your time, and look forward to speaking with you, hearing about how we can help you get the most from SimsUshare. And I will come back up over here where start video, and I have a little bit of Zoom fun over there. Let me turn that one off. It kind of gets annoying after a while. This is really my office, or is it? Thank you again. Appreciate your time. I am recording this scenario, this webinar. It's going to show up in the webinar archive probably by tomorrow. So you'll be able to look it over if you kind of missed anything, or if you have, if you wanted to see more specifically some of the stuff that we've done. I'm going to look at a message over here. Randy is, thank you very much. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Thank you all for, again, your time, taking your time here and learning about various ways of sharing simulations.